विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे Welcome to Vivekananda Yoga Research Foundation and to this presentation on Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga, the path of intellect, the path of analysis. This is the yoga of wisdom, and Jnana Yoga has its own methodology. The methodology centers around hearing, called Shravana. Then we have Manana, recalling and analyzing. Then dwelling and meditating, called Nididhyasana. And the result will be what you call realization, Jnana. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana and Jnana. So this is the methodology of the Upanishads. Upanishads form the foundations for Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga essentially deals with two main topics. Number one, the happiness, another one is reality. And today we will be studying happiness, the search for happiness. The search for happiness or happiness analysis forms the basis for yoga. And in this basis, we try to understand how happiness has a close connection to the practices and theory of yoga. First of all, let us try to understand the role of happiness. In fact, happiness is the direction in our lives. It's called Sukha. Sukha is happiness, and this is the fundamental drive in all of us. To get happiness, to get more and more happiness, Sukha Praptihi. If you cannot do that, if you cannot get happiness, at least Dukkha Nivrittihi, that is to overcome the misery. This has been the fundamental drive in all of us, not only we as human beings, but also even in animals, instinct and everywhere. This is the fundamental drive in all creation. Sukha Praptihi Dukkha Nivrittischa. So this is in a sense the aim of our lives. That is the meaning to our life. Whether we know it or not, this is how the whole life moves. Take for example the voluntary actions. All our voluntary actions that we do, we in our lives start studying and maybe try to get a degree, and after degree what next is to get a job, and then earn your living, maybe get married, and produce children. For what? All these activities we do voluntarily. It is all to get happiness and happiness. You go to a movie, you keep walking, you chit chat with others, you play games, all that for happiness. But sometimes we try to avoid the misery. When we know the point of danger, then we try to avoid the misery. And all our involuntary functions are essentially to avoid the misery. Whether it is respiration that is going on, or whether it is thirst and hunger, everything is towards avoiding the misery. Dukkha Nivrittischa. And the hunger, thirst are essential things in our life, but then Why we go on doing it? Let's analyze. Now let me think, okay, I get hungry, but why should I eat? And I will not eat maybe for half a day, then I feel more and more hungry. And if I don't eat the food for the whole day with willpower, maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days, I start feeling weak. So what? If I become weak, what happens? Well, it may lead me to death, annihilation, the biggest fear, the biggest misery in our lives, and therefore we go eating. We become thirsty, we drink water, respiration goes on, and I will tell to myself, why should I go on respirating, inhalation, exhalation, let me stop breathing, take a deep breath and hold the breath with all the power, maybe a few seconds, then tremendous pressure starts building up, and inside it's telling, come on, breathe out. Why? Because accumulation of the carbon dioxide. If more carbon dioxide comes up, what happens? The cells need oxygen, and if they don't get oxygen, the cells may die. For example, when the child is born, if there is not enough oxygen, even for a few milliseconds or a few seconds, the brain cells will get damaged. We have cerebral palsy, we have mental retardation. Similarly, in our body, if the cells do not get enough oxygen, the cells may die. And physiologically also, our system knows that oxygen is necessary, carbon dioxide, we have to throw it out. Therefore, the pressure gets built up. The pressure sensors, the carbon dioxide sensors will start pushing more and more pressure. With under great difficulty, 35 seconds, I close the breath, then it says impossible, and then you just breathe out, avoiding the misery of annihilation. The biggest fear of death. Therefore, all our involuntary functions are all geared for dukkha nivrutti. All our voluntary actions are geared towards sukha prapti, getting more and more happiness. And this is the central theme in our lives, this is the aim in our lives. But often we do not see that and continue on and on, and we have never analyzed. We have never analyzed what is happiness, we have never analyzed what is dukkha. Though this is a central theme in our lives, we have never analyzed. Though we are in the era of science and technology, we ask questions, everything. If somebody says you have to go for the temple, I ask, why should I go to my temple? Why should I go to the church? And if every day I have to do the practice of yoga, I will ask, why should I do yogasanas every day? Everything I question. Habits, manners, superstitions, customs, everything I question. Well, it is wonderful. Unless I understand, I do not see why I should do that. But unfortunately, we have never analyzed what is this happiness, what is this dukkha, what is unhappiness, what is misery, and what is happiness. We have never analyzed. Why? We have simply assumed, we have taken for granted that happiness is in objects of enjoyment, and therefore sukha is in the dish of my choice, and hot cup of tea early in the morning in the winter days, book of our choice, the story books, maybe the Perry Masons, and the song of our choice, the varieties of music, the CDs, all the objects of enjoyment, and we have assumed that sukha is in these objects of enjoyment, in the sense objects. Why did we assume that? Because it's our usual experience. It's our day-to-day experience. You go to a nice music party which you like, you are very happy. You go to a restaurant of your choice and eat the dishes of your choice, you are very happy. You go to a nice movie and you are so very happy. So we take for granted that happiness should be in objects of enjoyment, and we never bothered to question this. We never tried to analyze this. On the other hand, we simply took for granted. Yes, we have taken for granted for a very long time that when the apple becomes ripe, it is coming down. But it was given to Newton and his genius to find out there is something mysterious about it. Why should the apple fall down? He asked. Even today, when this question comes to our mind, the answer is obvious to us. Well, because the apple became ripe, it came down. Or the apple and its connection to the branch gets cut, therefore the apple comes down. What is so special about it? But look at the genius of Newton in asking this question. He said, all right, sir, the connection between the branch and the apple is cut, whatever may be the reason, but why should the apple fall down? Why not the apple go up? Why not the apple go to the front? Why not the apple go to the back? Why not to the right or to the left? Why should it select to go only down? It is in this intensity of questioning, it is in the subtlety of this question came up a big revelation, a new theory, the theory of gravitation. In the same way, things may appear very, very simple. It looks obvious. It may be our day-to-day experience, but unless we question this, we will not know the secret. Therefore, the Upanishads asks us, though it is your usual experience, though it is our day-to-day experience that we get happiness through all sense pleasures, please analyze, it says. Not only we as individuals did the mistake, even the developed societies, advanced nations did this mistake. When there was a migration of the people from Europe, from England to United States, and people from all over the world came down to the new virgin soil a few hundred years back, then there was a need, there was a new thinking that we want to build wonderful social orders and we want to live very happily. And how did we do that? People who went into the United States, they said that we want to eliminate all the differences because they had seen the royal rich rolling in wealth, the kings and queens on one side, living in palatial buildings, having all the comforts. On the other side, the workers working 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day, and treated as slaves, hardly giving 1 square meal a day, and such a big, big difference. So when we are going to create this society, a new society in the virgin soil of United States, let us develop a society where all people will get enough food, enough clothing, nice things to stay, food, shelter and clothing, and let us also develop a lot of affluence and wealth so that everybody will get the objects they want, the sense objects, so that they can live a very happy life. This is how the thinking took place. And thanks to science and technology, the dream started coming true and the United States became the economic giant and individual freedom was emphasized, lot of affluence and wealth came up. Even a person who goes to work to sweep the floor, he goes in a nice car, goes with a vacuum cleaner and vacuums the whole house. Even a person who wants to go for dishwashing, he goes on his car to a restaurant and works there 4 to 6 hours washing the dishes. Even a janitor who washes the toilet, he goes in his car nicely and goes and cleans up the toilets. Such has been the influence of the affluence that is coming up in the society. And we all have achieved this thanks to science and technology. It was a virgin soil and the number of people who existed there has been less, low population, working hard and building up the whole nation. The dreams have come true. Dreams of an affluent society, the dreams of a Sampagdyukta Rashtra has come true. But did we realize the real dream? Did you find that the people are happy? The answer is a big, big no. Why? Why is it that the people did not get this happiness? Why is it that people did not create a very happy society? In spite of all the riches and wealth, in spite of all the palatial buildings, in spite of all the wonderful things that they have been able to create, why is it we have failed miserably to create a society of happiness? Why is it there is so much of tension and stress? Why is it there is such large number of psychosomatic ailments and psychiatric problems? Asthma, diabetes, hypertension, heart problem, epilepsy, migraine, irritable bowel syndrome, a series of them, depression, neuroticism, and so on. 30% of people in the United States suffering from irritable bowel syndrome, chronic fatigue syndrome. And why is there so much of gun culture, the drug culture, the terrorism? Why? Are the people happy? Happiness has become a temporary thrill. The real happiness has gone off as far off cry. Why this has happened? There is something fundamentally wrong. That's what the Upanishads tell. We wanted happiness, but unfortunately never understood what is happiness, and you took for granted that happiness is in objects of enjoyment. Therefore, if you create objects of enjoyment, then you will have a very, very happy society. That's why please analyze what is happiness. What is sukha? Please analyze. And that's what the Jnana Yoga says. What is sukha? Is sukha really in objects of enjoyment? Let us take some simple example. A dish of your choice. People from West Bengal love rasagulla, and first time he eats the first rasagulla, he is in all excitement. Oh, he is so very happy, so wonderful. He takes up the second piece and eats, and the third and the fourth. But then he says, no, this is enough. But there are some people who are very capable. Maybe they may finish 20. I had one of my friend who could finish 40 gulab jamuns at a time. But then he will say, enough. But supposing you force one more my dear, what is going to happen? Then slowly the happiness starts reducing after the repetition, and it goes on reducing and reducing. I had gone to a festival party. It was the marriage ceremony. Our friend knew that his friend Ramesh was very, very happy with gulab jamun. So especially he has prepared gulab jamun. Ramesh also was extremely excited. He went on eating gulab jamuns after gulab jamuns, eliminating all other items. And when he was very happy and satisfied, okay, this is enough, 14 pieces he has eaten. Then our friend comes and gives, no, Ramesh, you have to eat. I know your quota is not finished, please take another 3. This fellow with great difficulty eats. What is happening to his happiness? When he has with great difficulty eaten all the 3, 17 is finished. Then the mother comes with great love and affection, and she says, I know Ramesh, you are very fond of gulab jamun, therefore I have gone to the kitchen and brought hot gulab jamun. Come on, you have to eat. 5 gulab jamuns she puts in, and imagine what is the situation. And that object which gave him such a fantastic happiness, such a great thrill, fails to give the happiness at the end of 14. Then slowly the happiness started reducing, and when he was forced with these, the happiness turned itself into a dukkha, the law of diminishing returns. That happiness is the one that goes on reducing, and in repetitions it turns itself into a misery. First time there is great happiness, that happiness reduces, and that is called the law of diminishing returns. This is the story with all sense pleasures, whether it is in eating gulab jamun or your rasgulla or a birthday cake. your fond dish which you love so much, the nice ice cream, whatever you eat. This is the story. Can we say therefore that happiness is an object of enjoyment? If really happiness was an object of enjoyment, if it was in the rasgulla, if it was in the gulab jamun, if it was in the birthday cake, when you go on increasing it, the happiness should go on increasing, like the value of a dollar note. You have $100, put on another 100 and 100, goes on increasing, the value goes on increasing, whereas it goes on reducing. What does it show? Any sense pleasure. You go to a music party and the concert is so nice, you enjoy it thoroughly, but second time you hardly want to go there to the same music concert. Similarly, you go to a beautiful movie and you thoroughly enjoy, but second time you hardly want to go. The 3 hours has vanished as 3 minutes first time when you go. Second time you go there, you start reducing the enjoyment. 3 hours almost is like 2 hours. Why does that happen? This is the law of diminishing returns. Secondly, it varies from person to person. What you like, I don't like. What you like, another person doesn't like. It is purely subjective. Some people like gulab jamun. People from Tamil Nadu, they love pal payasam. And there are people who say, no, no sweets at all. I love my masala dosa. I love my hot stuff, and never the sweets, never the sweets. So what that show? It is subjective. If really happiness is contained in gulab jamun, if it is contained in rasgulla, it should be common to all the people. The value of the $100 note is same for all. But it is not so here. The second reason which shows that happiness is not in objects of enjoyment is that it is subjective, varies from person to person. The third reason, it varies from community to community. What one community people like, another community people do not like. What people in Maharashtra and Gujarat like, the fond Shrikhand is hardly liked by people in Tamil Nadu. An interesting episode, we had a yoga camp, and in this yoga camp we had large number of people from Maharashtra and Gujarat. Out of the 100 people, nearly 75 were from Maharashtra and Gujarat, and the camp was going on very nicely. It was the 11th day of the camp, and some of the ladies from Maharashtra came and called on our coordinator, said, sir, we have a request to make. We are missing our Shrikhand for the last 15 days. Can we help you to make nice Shrikhand and let all people enjoy? Please give us these items and we will put efforts, extra efforts, and prepare nice Shrikhand that all people enjoy. And the coordinator was very magnanimous. He said, okay, go ahead. And these people worked hard. In 2 days they produced beautiful Shrikhand, very tasty Shrikhand. And it was the lunch time. Everybody had Shrikhand in their small katoris, small bowls, and everybody was curious. The people from Gujarat and Maharashtra, they were very anxious. They were very, very happy to have their fond dish, Shrikhand. But people from Tamil Nadu, some people from Karnataka, some people from Kerala, who had not seen what this dish is, it was totally new to them, they were also curious. During our lunch period, we have the Bhojana Mantra, especially when we have special sweets, special festival days, we have a long Bhojana Mantra. Yantu nadayo varshantu parjanyaha. Almost it runs for 4 to 5 seconds, 4 to 5 minutes, while normal Bhojana Mantra is a short one, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi. And they patiently waited, and then what happened? The people from Gujarat, Maharashtra, they started eating the Shrikhand. Oh, they were in great ecstasy, wonderful bliss, so very happy, so very wonderfully happy. But what happened to the other group? The other group slowly took that small piece of Shrikhand, started putting into their mouth with all curiosity. But unfortunately, the taste did not match. What is this peculiar taste? Sweet and sour, peculiar combination. We would love having only sweets, but now combination, I don't like. Everybody kept them aside, and the people who prepared it with all concern, love, they were feeling so bad that our friends from Gujarat, from Tamil Nadu, from Karnataka, from Kerala, they could not enjoy. What does that show? What the whole community as a whole likes, the other community doesn't like. Similarly, that which is liked by the people in France is not liked by the people in United States. Those dishes which are the fond dishes of United Kingdom is no more the fond dishes of Japanese. I remember 25 years back I was traveling in a train, and there were 3 Japanese friends, and when lunchtime came, they put out their food, and there was a nice bottle, and I started watching, and they said, this is our very fond dish, and as they have lifted up the contents, I was almost nauseated. They were picking up cockroaches, cockroach pickle. What is liked by one group could be nauseating to the other group. What I will say? So it varies from community to community, from individual to individual. So therefore it is evident that happiness is not in objects of enjoyment, because of 3 reasons. 1, the law of diminishing returns. Number 2, it is subjective. Number 3, it varies from community to community. But still we believe that happiness is an object of enjoyment, and we went to create nations, we went creating big societies, even the best of the intellects. We missed something very, very fundamental, something very basic, and it became a wild goose chase. So when I was talking about this in one of our camps, one of the brilliant students got up and said, "Sir, your analysis is very good, but instead of concluding that happiness is not in objects of enjoyment at all, let us conclude that happiness is in the first piece of gulab jamun, first piece of the Shrikhand, the first piece of their choice." So it depends on your mood, I said. It may be the first piece of your choice, but if the mood is not okay, then even the first piece will not attract you, will not bring happiness. I remember a very deadly accident that happened 30 years back. I was coming from Banerghatta towards Prashanti Kutiram, and normally during these days there used to be the road which was very, very narrow, but the trucks and lorries used to flow so fast, and there used to be overtaking, and in the encounter there used to be accidents almost every 2 weeks, and big accidents once in a month was very common in that area. It was one such accident. The front truck was going empty. At the back, it's a fully loaded truck. He was trying to overtake the first. Normally the drivers have their own ego competitions. The front fellow says, "I am empty, I am going so fast, 80 kilometers an hour. This fellow who is fully loaded, he wants to overtake me. Let me see how he is going to overtake." Whenever the loaded truck starts coming nearer, this fellow will go to the right and will never allow the person to overtake him. The whole thing goes on and on. And when they reached a place which is called as Gotegere, a village, then the person at the back had lost his patience. He said, "Come what may, I am going to overtake you." He went on honking with the biggest of his horn and started overtaking. It was late evening. It was almost dusk, and near that Gotegere there was a culvert, 2 big culverts through which only just 2 trucks can hardly pierce. Since he could not see that culvert, the person at the back, he hit the culvert. The whole loaded truck fell on the first, and there was 8 spot deaths. And the worst thing that happened, 2 friends, Krishna and Ramesh, were just walking across, strolling their evening, nicely talking, and the front truck fell on the front, and the Ramesh was crushed into spot death. And Krishna was in great melancholy. His mood has gone. He said, what a life. For no fault of us, we are walking here, and the truck comes and falls on my closest friend. And in Ramesh, I have lost the best friend of my life. He stood there. By the time he returned home, it was all 12:30. His mind was absolutely shocked, disturbed, full of melancholy and misery at most. He could not get sleep. Early morning, 7 o'clock, there is a knock on the door, and reluctantly he goes and opens the door. His friend has come from Jigni, nearby village, and he is also one of his very close friends. His name is Narayan, and Narayan is in great jubilance. He is with wide smile on his face, and he says, Krishna, come on, take this beautiful sweet that you like. I know this gulab jamun, this special doodh peda, and this nice ice cream, all this you love so much. Therefore, I have gone specially and brought all these things for you. And do you know why? Yesterday I got my result, and I have got first class in my SSLC matriculation, and that's how I brought the sweet for you at your doorsteps. Come on, let's enjoy. In the normal case, Krishna would have finished all the things in no time at all. But today what happened? No, Narayan, I cannot eat this. You know what happened yesterday night? The treacherous of an accident. Our closest friend Ramesh, please come, I will show you how this truck fellow simply fell on him, and the blood stream, he shows him, and Narayan is also stuck with that melancholy. What does that show? Even the first piece, which is the dish of his choice, the nice Dharwad doodh peda and the nice ice cream, and all that never helped him. And it depends on your mood. Even the first piece depends on your mood. What does that show? Happiness is not outside, it is inside. Happiness is inside, sukha is inside, not outside. And that is the whole essence. Once we understand, then there is a world of change. But what are we doing? We are all the time searching for sukha outside. We are trying to get happiness from objects of enjoyment, from people of our friendship, and we don't get happiness. We build beautiful skyscrapers, palatial buildings, nice cars, nice TV, and nice refrigerator, all things to eat, but we never become happy. Why? It has become a wild goose chase. You are searching in the wrong place. There is an old lady, and she was very poor. She found her saree torn. She started stitching her saree, and she dropped the needle. She started searching for the needle. Searching and searching, she was not getting the needle. There was a young person. He said, my dear old lady, can I help you? Yes, please help me. I have lost the needle here. Then he also started searching and searching. He also couldn't find the needle. He was sure that there was no needle. He asked, my dear old lady, where did you drop your needle? And she says, why, my dear, I dropped my needle in my hutment. Well, you dropped the needle in your hutment, and why are you searching here in the street? Well, you see, I am a very poor lady. I don't have light in my hutment, but there is plenty of light here in the street, and therefore I am searching the needle here. We are like that old lady. The happiness is inside, but we are searching for happiness outside. We go to the music concert, we eat the dish of our choice in restaurants, we search for happiness all the time outside without knowing that happiness is inside. We have lost our needle in our hutment, we are searching for needle outside. Any amount of a search cannot get you the needle. That is the story of the old lady and the needle. Yet another example of an anxious mother, 35 years neurotic mother. She had given birth to a new baby 4 months back, and her madness had not gone. Afternoon, after the lunch, she had a nice nap. When she gets up, she wakes up and she starts looking, she remembers, hey, what happened to my child? And she starts shouting, oh sister, please tell me, where is my child? Sister has gone out of the house and mother also has gone out. So she started searching for the child in the room, in the next room, in the kitchen, in the dining hall, in the main hall, and she is getting more and more panic, more and more anxious, and she is not getting the child. What has happened? What has happened? She is getting more and more stressed up. She starts coming out of the house to see whether he has run away somewhere. By that time, his sister, elder sister, comes and she asks, what is the matter? Why are you getting so tensed up? Why are you so anxious? He says, oh, my child, somewhere it has gone. I have been searching and searching. Oh boy, what a nonsense you are talking. You have the child right here in your lap, and what has happened to you? We are like that neurotic. We have the happiness all inside our bosom, but we are looking for happiness outside, searching outside all the time for happiness. It has become a wild goose chase, and therefore the simple analysis says, please look within. Happiness is inside, happiness is not outside. This is the simple experiment which makes us very clear that we are searching in the wrong place. We are searching where it is not there. That is why, even though we built up such a wonderful, affluent society, we built up all the comforts, we have not been able to create a society of great happiness. Why? Because we have missed our boat. So the Upanishads tell us that you look for happiness inside. If you do that, then you will be able to build up the happiness of the right type. It is inside, it is not outside. Once we get convinced about this, then our entire life is going to change. The way that we start looking at the world will change. Our wild goose chase to accumulate more and more wealth, more and more comfort objects, to search for happiness in different restaurants, Italian food, Mexican food, Indian food, Chinese food, Singapore food, and what not. All such wild goose chase will stop once we understand that happiness is inside and not outside. Our greed to accumulate more and more is going to reduce. The credit card system and the super bazaars, with all the attractions, you go there and you bring all types of objects of enjoyment, go on accumulating in the house. In 1 year, you find that your room in your house is inadequate. You have to move from a 3-bedroom apartment to a big bungalow. And in 2 years, again your accumulation increases and you go into a much bigger palatial house with 6 double bedrooms, with all storage places. Goes on and on, on and on. And you are becoming more and more unhappy. You have a beautiful car of your choice and you are not happy with that. You want to get the latest car, latest model, and you work for it and you have the latest model car, but the thrill lasts only a few days. Then again you are in for a new car, a bigger car, maybe Mercedes, maybe Rolls Royce, You strive for that, when it comes back, then again you lose the charm and excitement. So the happiness has turned itself into continuous toil and toil to get more and more objects, and the happiness is a small temporary thrill. Why this is happening? Because happiness is not in your Rolls Royce, happiness is not in objects of enjoyment, happiness is not in your birthday cake, happiness is not in the gulab jamun, happiness is not in the fond sexual pleasures that you seek. It is inside. It is inside. So the Upanishads tell us, if you want really happiness, search in the right place. Look inside and see, and you have the happiness. Once we get convinced, the whole life will change. You have a new vision, you have a new knowledge base, and you start searching inside. Well, once you start searching inside, what is that which we call as happiness? That is the next question that we take up. Let us take simple examples again and try to understand what is happiness. What is that inner state which we reckon as happiness? A young student reading the beautiful storybook, a storybook of his choice. In our times it used to be the Perry Mason. I remember that boy, so fond of his Perry Mason novels, the detective novels, and he would fully get immersed in that to the exclusion of even food. His mother would drag him to food. He will go into the dining table and gulp in something. He doesn't know what he has eaten and goes back and continues reading. Now, normally he would sleep around 10 o'clock, but today he is growing strong. The mother says, "What has happened to you?" But he sees that he is fully immersed in reading that novel. 10:30, 11 o'clock, all that he is doing, but he is growing strong. And 1 o'clock he has finished his entire book. He looks at, oh, already morning, 1:30. What is happening to his inner state? His inner state is a state of deep concentration, an absorbing concentration. Same thing about the interesting movie as well. We go to a movie of our choice and whole 3 hours gets finished as 3 minutes. You are in deep absorbing concentration. All your randomness of the mind, all distractions have gone, all the worries that you have accumulated during the day is gone. You are in perfect concentration. Therefore, it looks that happiness is concentration. Happiness is concentration. A state of mind featured by concentration. But then you have the litmus test. You ask whether it is really concentration. What is the litmus test? Increasing during durations of concentration. Now your concentration for half an hour, 1 hour, 4 hours, 8 hours, the whole day you are in concentration. See what happens. You are concentrating for 5 days. What happens? No? Obvious. You get strained, you get fatigued, you get lost. Nowadays intellectuals, even after half an hour of their intense work, they would like to have a sip of coffee or a cup of tea. And if you are a little more progressive, they want to go for drinks and drugs, and they want more and more of the external thing. Why? Why this happens? Because concentration is also not happiness. Happiness is not in concentration also, because it leads to fatigue, it leads to strain, and it brings in the dukkha. And why does this happen? Because the concentration, no doubt, is better than the state of worry. It is better than the state of randomness of the mind, but is not happiness by itself. It's only a stage, it looks. Then what? What is to be done then? Look deeper, go deeper, say the Upanishads. The Jnana Yoga says you have to ask very fundamental and deep question, as did Newton. Newton asked, how did the apple fall down? Why did it not go out? Often we miss the detail because we are very fast, so you have to slow down. In our times we used to go for cricket match and watch the wonderful match. Thousands of people used to come in the cricket stadium, or at the center the people will be playing. We are at quite a big distance and sitting on the galleries and watching, and the person comes and bows. The speedy bowler would knock off the bails and the person is going out. Everybody is shouting in excitement, but we hardly understood what exactly happened. Thanks to modern technology and the TV, we now watch the same thing. First time we don't understand how the person lost his wicket, but then there is a slow playback on the TV. And in the slow playback we see the bowler coming with tremendous speed, and now he is bowling with speeds of the ball reaching almost 100 miles per hour. And when the ball comes here, there is a swirl and that swing. Now the person is going to tackle, and the ball goes in between the bat and knocks off the bail, and you so thoroughly enjoy. When you slow down the whole process, you often get at the secret, and that is the secret that we have to unravel about happiness. Similarly, I started watching floor gymnastics in Olympia, and what a grandeur of the girls coming, running and then jumping and giving a somersault and coming down beautifully on the floor, one after another, jumping up almost 8 feet, 9 feet, 12 feet. We used to wonder about the tremendous capacity of the physical excellence, the flexibility and the jumping capacity. But then the first girl is given only 4.6 marks. The second girl gets 9.6. The third girl goes down by 6.3. How did the judge make out the differences? Everybody appeared to be so fantastic, so wonderful. Then came the slow playback, and in the slow playback, the first girl is coming and she is moving and moving, coming, and she jumps up. When she is jumping up, she finds that the left leg is dragging and the right has gone. She has given a somersault in which the right leg is coming quite front compared to the left, and there is an imbalance when she touches the ground, and the whole body shakes and shakes, and she is tensed up and anxious, and somehow she manages. She gets 4.6. Whereas the second girl is coming with grace, with a smile on the face. She jumps up and beautiful somersault, and there is balance and grace, and she is smiling even at the top, 12 feet height, landing down as beautiful, smooth gliding, and both the legs come together, her smile, beautiful smile on the face, peaceful mind, and with grace she comes 9.8. When you slow down, you understand the secret. Therefore, the slow playback is the one that gives us the secret, and therefore the Jnana Yoga says, now go deeper, find out what happened when the people ate that wonderful Shrikhand. The same example, imagine that you have taken a movie, you have caught the whole process by a video camera, and now you are slowly playing it back. Imagine what has happened. All people sitting for the Bhojan mantra. When the Bhojan mantra is being chanted, they are very, very anxious, and they are all, some of them curious, what happened after Bhojan mantra. You take that small piece of Shrikhand, that wonderful dish, pasty little thing, you are taking it in your hand or the spoon and taking it into your mouth, and when that small piece of Shrikhand comes in touch with the taste buds of your tongue, something mysterious happens, something special happens. The object coming in touch with a sense called Vishaya Vishayi Sambhoga, and that is the Vishaya is the object, the Shrikhand. Vishayi is the tongue, the taste buds of the tongue. When the two things come and touch, your mind becomes silent, it gets obliterated with all the thoughts, and there is a pure experience of that happiness. And then soon you come out and say, oh, what a wonderful Shrikhand, how nicely you have prepared, and all superlatives just emerge out. But just before that, maybe for a fraction of a second, maybe 100th of a second, your mind has obliterated itself from all thoughts. You have touched that inner silence, and that is the experience that you get. And that touch of the dish with the taste buds silences the mind, and that is a pure experience. Whether it is the Shrikhand or whether the birthday cake which you love so much, first time you put that, what happens? Your mind is fully in the concentration, already the randomness has gone, the randomness and the chanchalata has gone, the worries have gone, your mind is fully in concentration. Then comes the next step, the mind just becomes silent. All thoughts just vanish back to that silence. This is the story with any sense pressure. You are going to a beautiful music concert, the Beethovens, and you are sitting in that and you are enjoying the grandeur of the artist playing the Beethoven, and you are swinging with him, you are resonating with him, and at one point of time you are lost. You are lost in ecstatic bliss. For a moment your mind becomes totally silent, and you have that unique experience of the artist taking you into that great silence. Then you come back thoroughly thrilled, and with tremendous bliss you say, oh, what a wonderful concert. What happens? I used to stay for quite a number of years in Kanyakumari, the southernmost tip of India, and there the three oceans meet. People used to come from all over the world, and many people who come from Madhya Pradesh, from Uttar Pradesh, have never seen an ocean. Now they have heard that here in Kanyakumari, the land's southernmost tip, there is the three oceans meeting. They are very curious. They come, first thing they do is they change their clothes, and after a bath they go for a quick breakfast and then come to see that ocean, often for the sunrise early in the morning. And as they start coming, the whole campus, Vivekanandapuram campus, is full of beautiful trees, and they come, and when they come they are exposed to that infinite ocean. It is this moment that I always used to watch. What happened to them? When they come, suddenly they are stunned. They stand like statues, and for several seconds, I remember one of the persons standing like this, another person with eyes closed for almost 3 minutes. Then I called on him and said, my dear, you have come here to watch and see the ocean and the beauty. Why did you close your eyes? I don't know, sir. When you were standing like a statue, were you feeling the nice, soft, sandy touch? No, sir. Then what was happening? Probably you were thinking about your wife and your family. No, sir, not at all. Then were you worried? Were you tensed up? No. What is happening? I don't know. But so wonderful, sir. It's so beautiful. It's so expansive. And a wonderful experience of my life. You would put, what happened? Please analyze. When the person had all the curiosity, the randomness and worries had gone, his mind was in that wonderful concentration, and in that randomness of the mind getting concentrated, now when he comes, Vishaya Sambhoga occurs, his eyes come in touch with that vast ocean, the mind dips into that deep silence, the ocean of silence, and from there he comes out with that excitement, with that bliss and happiness. That's what happens. Each time you get a sense pleasure, each time your fond object of choice comes to you, there is obliteration of thoughts, your mind just silences itself. And that is happiness. Therefore, happiness is not outside, it is inside. It is a state of deep concentration, absorbing concentration. We thought, no, not even that. This is all preparation. Preparation for the mind to enter into that ocean of silence, Anandamaya Kosha, a state of beautiful peace and silence. And for a fraction of a second or a few seconds, your mind touches. This is the secret. So, the structure of bliss says bliss is silence. Not that silence leads to bliss, and that silence gets purified, becomes purer and purer, becomes pure consciousness in the end. Well, one of the students came up and asked, "Sir, what about my litmus test?" I said, "Very good, good. What happens if you stay in that silence for 1 minute, for 5 minutes, for 1 hour, for 15 hours together, for days together? If you stay, what is going to happen?" That is the litmus test. Well, we don't know what happens. We don't have that experience of silence. We don't know how to increase that silence. Upanishads only tell us, the Jnana Yoga only tells us, please do the experiment yourself. And when you do the experiment yourself, you will understand. If you get more and more happiness, accept it. Otherwise, you throw it out. That is the spirit of the Upanishads. And let us see what the seers say. The people who are able to expand through longer and longer duration, they say the happiness goes on increasing. It increases by exponential. And when you are able to expand it to 1 hour, half an hour to 1 hour, 1 hour to 2 hours, it is not only that the happiness is only in the head, it is not only limited to the head, but it starts spreading throughout the body, and each and every cell starts getting transformed, and there is a metamorphic transformation of the whole personality, and that is the effect that you get when you touch the silence and stay in silence. So, my appeal to you, my dear listeners, that we spend so many years and years to get a job and a degree, and for earning the money, for what? To get at happiness. Here is the greatest secret of the Upanishads, greatest secret of Jnana Yoga, that please look inside, go deeper and deeper, and happiness